On the education beat, the pandemic has resulted in multiple school closures just this week. Benavides Elementary and Secondary switched to virtual learning today after a student tested positive at one of the campuses. They will return to face-to-face instruction in January after winter break. And no school meals will be provided until further notice. In Fremont, the school district is also switching to virtual learning after multiple tested positive at two of their campuses. Students will return for in-person instruction after the holidays on Tuesday, January 5th. And Alice High School has also switched back to virtual learning after a student tested positive. Students will return for face-to-face instruction on January 4th.